After successfully completing my mission, I realized I had targeted the wrong person. I had managed to seduce the dark horse villain, and now I needed to find a way to break up with him. I tentatively asked, "What if someone betrayed you?" He casually replied, "They'd be dumped in the North Sea." Frightened, I decided to transform into a clingy girlfriend, hoping he would dump me of his own accord. Every day, I'd pester him, "Do you love me? Why didn't you reply to my WhatsApp instantly? Are you cheating? Let me check your phone." I diligently created drama, eagerly anticipating the day he'd break up with me. But then I overheard him confiding in someone. "My girlfriend is so clingy because I haven't given her enough security. I've decided to propose to her tomorrow." I was dumbfounded. Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. After 6 months of being in the story world, I finally won over the male lead. In the dimly lit private room, Ethan Cartwright held a cake to celebrate my birthday. Around us, there were cheers and whispered discussions. "This Olivia Bennet is so lucky. She happened to find Mr. Cartwright when he was injured, and suddenly went from a village girl to the girlfriend of a wealthy heir. He's probably just tired of caviar and wants to try beans on toast. I don't believe Mr. Cartwright will like her for more than a month." But Mr. Cartwright brought her into high society and gave her an official status. At that moment, Ethan was looking down at me. As the male protagonist of the novel, he had an extremely handsome face, with long eyelashes casting shadows. He looked so innocent and pure. I couldn't even wait to make a wish before leaning in to kiss him. 6 months ago, I entered this cliché romance novel about a domineering CEO. Following the system's guidance, I found the injured male lead in an alley near my home. Under my care, he quickly recovered, and we smoothly began our romance. At this crucial moment, the long-silent system finally came online. Host. I've finally managed to boot up. Wow, has the host already completed the task? I'll calculate your points right away. Beep, 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 hashtag UN% and asterisk. After a string of gibberish, the system's electronic voice became terrified. Critical error detected. Host, you've pursued the wrong person. The smile froze on my face. The system blabbed on, explaining the current situation to me in detail. After transmigrating into the novel, the system only told me to go to the alley and pick someone up. Then it went offline. I fumbled in the dark all night before finally finding Ethan Cartwright, who had passed out. He was handsome, with abs and exceptionally long legs. He looked every bit the male lead. After taking such meticulous care of him, how could I have picked up the wrong person? I was devastated. What should we do now? The system replied, "I'm sorry, host. We still need to pursue the male lead to complete the mission. I'm afraid you'll have to find a way to break up with the villain." In this outdated novel's description, Ethan Cartwright, as the villain, was described as scheming and ruthless. In short, offending him would be worse than death. How am I supposed to break up with him? I looked up and met Ethan's gaze. I heard him say tenderly, "Make a wish. Whatever you want, I'll do my utmost to fulfill it." A chorus of wow erupted around us. No one would question the weight of the Cartwright family's eldest son's words. Amidst the envious glances of those around me, I forced out a smile. Inwardly, I wailed, "Oh God, I was wrong. Please let me break up with Ethan Cartwright." I watched the candle go out with hopeful anticipation. The next second, the candle relit itself. After the party, Ethan and I headed home. He was particularly passionate tonight. Even in the lift, his fervent kisses descended upon me. Ethan's lips were cool and soft. As our mouths intertwined, I could barely breathe. The system screamed in my ear, "Host, don't enjoy it. You're supposed to break up with him. Right. Mustering a shred of rationality, I said, "Ethan, I need to talk to you." Go on," he murmured. "Could you stop what you're doing at a time like this?" Distracted, I blurted out my true feelings. "Let's break up." The atmosphere froze instantly. Ethan's movements halted as he straightened his back. He looked down at me, his dark eyes like pools of ink. For the first time, I realized how tall he was. His figure completely enveloped me, making me feel like trapped prey. "What did you say?" His voice was soft, his tone still relatively calm. Yet it made my heart race wildly. Is this the intimidating aura of a villain? Oh system, I'm scared. I hastily retracted my breakup declaration. I feel like you don't like me, so I shouldn't like you either. Ethan's cold expression softened. He leaned down to kiss me again. Soft kisses fell on my eyelids. Why would you think that? I tried to guide the conversation. We come from completely different worlds. Your feelings for me might just be gratitude. You were injured and alone. You might be mistaking gratitude for love. So wake up. Ethan chuckled softly. That's not what you used to say. You said that kindness should be repaid tenfold, and that saving a life deserves lifelong devotion. Yes, I did say that nonsense. Because I've realized something. Love is about letting go, not forcing someone. Ethan didn't respond. He simply picked me up in his arms, his movements swift and decisive. He tossed me onto the master bedroom's mattress. Ethan's chest pressed against mine, his fingers pinching my earlobe. Olivia, love is about possession, destruction, and doing whatever it takes. So you can keep forcing me. Heat spread from my earlobe throughout my body. As he ruthlessly stole my breath, I nearly fainted. Only one thought remained in my mind. Who exactly was forcing whom? Afterwards, I was so exhausted I couldn't even move a finger. Ethan had to carry me to the bathtub to wash. He kissed my sweaty forehead. Don't ever mention breaking up again. My throat was so hoarse I couldn't speak, I could only nod pitifully. I recalled how Ethan used to blush when I stole a kiss from him. Now, it's all my fault for not restraining myself and luring him to bed back then. At this point, running away seems like the best option. In the middle of the night, Ethan received a phone call and got up from bed. I tiptoed out of the room. The sound of conversation drifted over. "Mr. Cartwright, we've caught the traitor. How should we deal with them?" Standing in the stairwell was Ethan's most loyal henchman. Ethan's posture was languid, a glowing red dot flickering at his fingertips. He replied nonchalantly, "Dump him in the North Sea. Those who betray me won't escape, no matter how far they run." I was living in an old-fashioned romance novel. The villain's influence spanned the globe, unstoppable and unrestrained. Was he hinting at me? If I left Ethan now, my fate would be. I quickly retreated back to bed. No, I must find a way to break up with Ethan peacefully. Better yet, make him dump me. I called out to my inner system, what do men hate most about women? Men hate it when women are gold diggers. I nodded, then shook my head. No, only poor men hate gold diggers. Ethan has too much money for that to apply. Still, I decided to give it a try. After all, I'd read countless answers on Quora saying, I can give, but she shouldn't ask. So maybe Ethan also dislikes women who ask for things? My thoughts were a jumble when Ethan returned. He wrapped his long arm around my waist and pulled me back. Gripping my chin, he kissed me. Still awake? What are you thinking about? I gazed at him wistfully. I was thinking about how I can't swim. I hate the sea. The gold digger plan begins. I want to buy a handbag, I say. All right, Ethan replies. But he neither gives me money nor accompanies me to go shopping. Aha. The internet friends didn't lie to me. I'm about to make a fuss, accusing Ethan of not loving me and refusing to spend money on me. The next second, the butler leads in the manager of a luxury brand, followed by more than 10 smartly dressed shop assistants. Each of them is carrying a handbag. The manager smiles cordially, Miss Bennett, which styles do you like? I stubbornly reply, I don't like your brand. The manager bows with a smile and leaves. Immediately after, another store manager enters. The butler explains, don't worry, Miss Bennett. They're all queuing outside. You can see whichever brand you want. Are luxury goods too cheap for Ethan, so he doesn't feel any pain at all? I want to buy diamonds. I want to buy property. After I nervously splurge hundreds of millions while Ethan remains impassive, the gold digger plan officially declares bankruptcy. I can't help but ask, I've spent so much money. Don't you feel hurt? Don't you think I only like you for your money? Ethan casually replies, I'm usually too busy with work to spend money. It's good that I have you. I'm at my wit's end. What should I do? What else can I do? The system comes online. Host, I've found it. A safe and painless way to break up. It's called smothering. It means constantly clinging to the other person, making them unable to bear it, and ultimately achieving the effect of breaking up. Using this method, the other person will only feel that your love is so heavy it's suffocating. They won't feel betrayed, they'll just want to get as far away from you as possible. My eyes light up instantly. For the next while, I scoured the internet for several popular posts on how to break up. Feeling confident, I began with step 1, sabotaging the CEO's work. I insisted on accompanying Ethan to the office. I'm so bored staying at home all day. I miss you so much I can't even eat. I've lost weight. I whined in a babyish voice, twisting my body dramatically. I was being so annoying. Ethan wasn't disgusted though. He gently pinched my increasingly plump chin. Bored? But you come home later than I do every day. Lately, I'd been spending money compulsively as if completing a mission. Each time, Ethan would pick me up after work to bring me home. On to step 2 of the aggressive breakup guide, throw tantrums anytime, anywhere. It's because you don't spend time with me that I shop to ease my loneliness, I complained. I don't want your stupid money. I want your companionship. Your care. Your love. If you won't accompany me, I'll never spend another penny of yours for the rest of my life. I was being completely unreasonable. Seeing him stay silent, my heart pounded in fear. I immediately started to reconsider. Was I going too far? What if he skipped the breakup and sent me straight to the North Sea? My bravado deflated instantly. I'm sorry, I said. I'm sorry, he said at the same time. Ethan continued, I've been too busy. I should spend more time with you. I was stunned. When I spoke again, I stammered from guilt. I was so harsh just now, not considerate of you at all. Do you want to break up and find a more obedient girlfriend? Ethan frowned, lifting his thin eyelids. His whole demeanor turned cold and gloomy. Why are you mentioning breaking up again? The words break up were like an emotional switch for Ethan. Whenever it came up, his face would fall like a sad puppy, instantly reminding me of his status as the big bad boss. I huffed. Can't you tell I'm testing you? If you dare break up with me, I'll hang banners at your company, write posts online, and curse you as a scumbag. See? This is my twisted, crazy love. Scared now, aren't you? However, Ethan let out a short, delighted laugh. His expression softened, looking both happy and satisfied. All right, I look forward to it, he said. Ethan probably didn't realize the gravity of the situation. I stepped up my intimidation. Since that's the case, let me be clear. I hate men who don't uphold their virtue the most. If you dare cheat, I'll break up with you. When I message you on WhatsApp, you must reply within 2 minutes. When I call, you have to pick up within 3 rings. Report your schedule to me every hour and let me check your phone anytime. You must inform me about every female acquaintance you have. Can you do all that? Ha, scared now, aren't you? Who wouldn't run away after hearing these demands? But Ethan didn't hesitate at all. Of course, he agreed. The first week of being clingy. I set an alarm every 10 minutes to remind myself to pester Ethan. Ethan always replied instantly. Every day, opening my phone meant sending nonsense to Ethan, as exhausting as writing an 800-word essay. There was also phone checking. He pinned my WhatsApp chat with the contact name girlfriend. No room for nitpicking. I kept scrolling through our chat history, but Ethan's daily life consisted only of work and me. Not a hint of anything fishy. After a few days, Ethan wasn't annoyed, but I was exhausted. At this slow pace, when would we ever break up? I needed to make a big move. One morning, I woke up in bed. Ethan was getting dressed. His upper body was bare, revealing his lean waistline. As he turned, the bite mark on his shoulder was clearly visible. I had accidentally bitten him last night. The system's voice was resentful. Stop looking, male beauty is harmful. I guiltily averted my gaze. Is it my fault? You ran out of battery back then, causing me to find the wrong person. The system went silent. Ethan leaned down and placed a fleeting kiss on my eyes. Just letting you know, I have a lecture at the University of London today. I won't be able to reply instantly between 9 and 10 a.m. I nodded and agreed easily. As soon as Ethan left, I immediately got out of bed. If I were this understanding, how could we ever break up? I arrived at the venue fully disguised, wearing a baseball cap and a face mask. Ethan sat in the front row, surrounded by industry bigwigs. A quick glance revealed he was the youngest, wealthiest, and most handsome among them. The students around me were all discussing him. I heard from the administration office that Mr. Cartwright is donating £500 million to the university this time. Damn, I'm blinded by the light of wealth. If only I could get into Mr. Cartwright's company for the autumn recruitment. Mr. Cartwright is actually playing with his phone. Do successful people play with their phones too? He must be checking financial information, plotting to bankrupt the Williams Group. No, he was messaging me. Are you up yet? I made porridge for you this morning, it'll be ready when you wake up. I specially brought Ms. Lena over from the family estate, she taught me step by step. It shouldn't taste bad this time, right? So bored, want to come home and play games with you. You must reply to me as soon as you wake up. Sadface.jpg. I was exasperated reading this. Since when did Ethan become so talkative? Before I could mentally scold him, he'd already overwhelmed me. Suddenly, a round of enthusiastic applause erupted in the hall. I looked up to see Ethan walking towards the stage. His assistant reached out, intending to take his phone, but Ethan waved him off, sent a message, and put the phone in his pocket. My phone vibrated twice. It's my turn. Quick reply cooldown countdown, 60 minutes. Ethan Cartwright had underestimated his own influence. His speech was both profound and accessible, and he managed the time well. However, he couldn't control the reporter interviews and interaction session that followed. The students in the audience were eagerly raising their hands. The host suggested extending the interaction time. I kept an eye on my watch, ready to bombard him with messages as soon as it hit 10 o'clock. Wake up, I haven't had porridge yet. The first thing I thought of when I opened my eyes was you. Do you miss me? How many times? How much? Are you done with work? Why aren't you responding? Didn't you say you'd reply instantly after 10 o'clock? It's been 100 seconds. Why aren't you messaging me? Do you even love me at all? I hid in the crowd, grinning widely. Look at me, what an inconsiderate girlfriend I am, causing a scene at such an inappropriate time. A little drama queen, nailed it. At this moment, the host was interacting with the audience, selecting people to ask questions. Ethan suddenly spoke up. Can I take a group photo with everyone? The audience shouted, of course. Ethan calmly took out his phone and photographed the crowd below. A student sitting in the front row asked, Mr. Cartwright, are you posting on Twitter? No, I'm sending it to my girlfriend. She's checking up on me. The crowd, always eager for drama, erupted in a chorus of teasing. Wow, you two have such a good relationship. Mr. Cartwright, what do you chat about with your girlfriend? Let us see too. I shrank into my seat in the audience, wishing I could find a crack to slip away through. I quickly sent 2 more messages to him. Haha, I was just joking. I know you must be busy. Am I the type of girlfriend who makes unreasonable demands? I'm not. So take your time replying, I'm really not in a hurry at all. Despite my silent prayers, Ethan lowered his head and quickly scanned the chat window. A faint smile played on his lips. He didn't seem bothered at all, in fact, he looked rather pleased. She's a bit shy, so I won't show you, he said. But there's one message I'm not sure how to reply to. I'll teach you. I'm the love guru of our dorm. Yes, yes. Two heads are better than one, another added. Ethan furrowed his brow and read out my last message. Take your time replying, I'm really not in a hurry at all. What does she mean? Does she want me to reply immediately or wait? He asked. The students answered in unison, she's obviously saying the opposite. She wants you to reply right away. No. That's not what I meant. My phone buzzed incessantly. Ethan replied to each message one by one. Still working, but thinking of you. Thinking of you very seriously. I love you the most. I overheard the discussions around me. I've had my fair share of relationships. Surely the universe owes me one like this? Doesn't the government want to increase the birth rate? I wouldn't mind if they sent me a tall, handsome bloke. Oh my God, did you see the group notice? The staff said they were delayed earlier, so Mr. Cartwright has prepared gifts for everyone. We can collect them after the event according to the sign-in sheet. Where did his girlfriend pray in her past life? I want to go there too. I'm not asking for a man, just for wealth. Amidst the laughter and chatter, I was the only one who closed my eyes in despair. Don't mind me, I'll see myself out. The incident that day was posted online. Thanks to Ethan's multi-million-pound fortune and striking good looks, it quickly became a viral video. Although it was soon suppressed, it had already been shared to the group chat of wealthy second-generation heirs. The group chat exploded, with everyone tagging Ethan. I've watched it over 10 times and still can't believe it's you, one said. Ha, you treat us like dogs but are so gentle with your girlfriend, another commented. I'm crying. Normally if I ask you a few extra questions, you get annoyed and tell me to go back to Oxford and ask for a refund. The difference between love and indifference is so stark. All these years of admiring you were clearly misplaced. Those close to him were teasing, but there were also some discordant voices. He's being way too clingy, it's a bit scary. Oh, poor Mary. This last comment was buried among the flood of messages, but I still caught it. I had only accidentally picked up Ethan's phone by mistake, but it turned out to be an unexpected windfall. Mary? That name sounded familiar. The system chimed in, host, I know. Mary Chamberlain is Ethan Cartwright's fiancée. Such important information and you're only telling me now? The system went silent, playing dead. I hadn't finished scrolling through the group chat yet. I was eager to see Ethan's response. I must have made him lose face in front of his friends, right? Not at all, I just feel I haven't done enough to make my girlfriend feel secure. The chat was flooded with question marks. Just then, a message notification popped up at the top of the phone. Ethan, I'm coming back to England. Let's meet up. The sender was none other than Mary Chamberlain. Me, wow. Suppressing my excitement, I casually put the phone back, pretending I hadn't seen anything. Ethan came in carrying a glass of warm milk. Time for bed, he said. He propped his chin on one hand, watching me drink the milk, deliberately not looking at his phone. I had to drop a hint. Your phone was buzzing just now. It might be something important, you should check. Ethan simply handed me the phone. You look for me. I didn't want to. If I looked, wouldn't I be interfering with their potential reconciliation? I argued, you shouldn't use your phone before bed. The blue light affects sleep quality. Ethan frowned. Olivia, you've been growing more distant lately. Last week you checked my phone an average of 23 times a day. This week it's only been 3 times, and today you haven't looked once. You're not going to get bored of me and dump me, are you? When I first got together with Ethan, I often forced him to listen to bedtime stories. All my cautionary tales about unfaithful lovers ended up backfiring on me. I forced a smile. Of course not. I'm just tired. I promise I'll check 23 times tomorrow, okay? Mary Chamberlain returned to England quickly. She attended a birthday celebration for one of the Cartwright family elders, dressed in her finest attire. Mary and Ethan were surrounded by people in the center of the room. From a distance, even their silhouettes looked like a perfect match. Standing alone, I was surrounded by mockery. Thank goodness Mary's back. It was disgusting to see how someone was jumping up and down these past few days. It's a pity, but matching social status is what really matters. She and Ethan were engaged before, after all. No matter how tightly she clings to Ethan, it's useless. When you have the genuine article, who would want a cheap imitation? While they were busy belittling me, I happily helped myself to the food and drinks. The chef's skills tonight were truly exceptional, much more delicious than what Ethan usually cooks for me. You must be Olivia Bennet? Mary suddenly approached me. Ethan's current girlfriend. I swallowed the cake in my mouth and recited the line I had prepared. Deliberately provocative, I said, so what if I am? Ethan loves me. He won't break up with me. Based on the novels I've read, Mary should be furious now. Bringing up the engagement and demanding that Ethan and I break up. Then I could take advantage of the situation. Don't worry, I'm not here to make you break up, Mary said, chin raised haughtily. In our social circle, these things are quite normal. As the rightful future Mrs. Cartwright, I can be generous enough to accommodate this. But you need to understand your place. In my presence, you should behave like a mistress. She spoke in English, but the words strung together sounded like a language I couldn't comprehend. Did Mary really study abroad in France? It seems more like she time-traveled from the Victorian era. What are you chatting about? Ethan walked over and wrapped his arm around my waist. Mary smiled gracefully. We were discussing our engagement. I was telling her not to worry. Ethan interrupted her. We don't have an engagement. That was just our elders joking around when we were kids. We've already cleared that up. He then turned to look at me. She was just kidding. Don't take it to heart. He explained it away so quickly, not even leaving me a chance to make an issue of it. Ethan said, if you have any questions, just ask me directly. Don't bottle things up or make assumptions. I can speak for myself, I retorted. Mary's socialite smile cracked as she stormed off, visibly upset. When it rains, it pours. The system suddenly spoke up. I can sense the male lead's presence, it said. Ever since reconnecting, the system had lost all its functions. Apart from chatting with me daily, it could only serve as an alarm clock. This was the first time I'd received any news about the male lead. I quickly looked over. Henry Stone was standing not far away. I squinted and gave him a careful once-over. Nice physique. But Ethan was still taller, with a more impressive build. Good-looking too. But Ethan's features were still more refined. He couldn't compare to Ethan in any way, not even down to the shine of his hair. Suddenly, my vision went dark. Someone had covered my eyes with their hand. Ethan asked sarcastically, enjoyed the full 5-second look. Satisfied? I blinked guiltily. My eyelashes brushed against Ethan's palm, and his fingertips twitched slightly. Not satisfied at all. He's just like any handsome guy on the street, nothing special. I'm not sure which part triggered the Cartwright heir's displeasure. Humph, you seem to observe quite carefully when you're out and about. I never look at other women, he added. As Henry walked over, Ethan's hand moved to my waist. He pulled me possessively into his arms. My face was buried in his chest. He said, "Don't look." Ethan took me to meet his family. On the way there, I was so nervous that my heart felt like it was about to leap out of my throat. The system tried to comfort me. Don't be afraid, host. This is a great opportunity. They'll look down on you, humiliate you, and you'll leave Ethan Cartwright in despair and tears. I replied, stop reading so many romance novels. Mary was also sitting next to the Cartwright family. She was playing a video on her phone, the one of me making those desperate calls at the alumni meeting. Mary said, a girl should have her own life. It's terrifying if she's always clinging to her boyfriend. She turned to me, Olivia doesn't have a job, does she? Everyone's eyes fell on me. Although I had just criticized the system for imagining cliché plot lines. If Ethan's family all looked down on me, he probably wouldn't be able to withstand the pressure, right? I gritted my teeth and started to put myself down. Not only am I unemployed now, I don't plan to work in the future either. I just want to be a rich housewife who spends her husband's money. Mary said haughtily, parents are a child's best teachers. How could you possibly raise the next heir for the Cartwright family like this? I don't want children. I'm child-free. After saying that, I snuck a glance at Ethan. The corners of his mouth were turned up. He was smiling. Olivia, I didn't realize you had plans so far ahead. I'll arrange the wedding immediately. I nearly fainted, feeling like I was about to black out. I didn't mean it like that. I was just trying to express that I'm a lazy good-for-nothing, completely unsuitable for marriage. So I looked to Ethan's mother for help. With Mary as the model of a perfect daughter-in-law from a good family, she would surely try her hardest to stop Ethan, right? But to my surprise, Mrs. Cartwright spoke rapidly. I'm going to Europe next year to expand the business. You two should try to get married in the second half of this year. Ethan replied, we'll start preparing today. Why isn't this going the way I expected? In the back seat of the Maybach, Ethan was on the phone with his secretary. Wedding dress, jewelry, island. These keywords made me feel increasingly desperate. Originally, we only needed to break up, but now it had escalated to escaping from the wedding. Ethan, first of all, it's not that I don't want to get married. Secondly, we've only known each other for half a year. Isn't this moving too fast? Not fast at all. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. I made a last-ditch effort. None of your family members object? I won't sign a prenup. I'll take half your assets if we divorce. Ethan pinched my earlobe. Don't worry, I'll solve all the problems. You don't need to do anything. No, there is one thing you need to do. Ethan lowered his gaze. Olivia, you need to write a self-criticism. Initially, to annoy Ethan, I had set strict punishment measures. For example, if I caught him looking at other girls, he had to write a letter of repentance. Ethan said, you looked at someone else for a full 5 seconds today. 500 words isn't too much, is it? My mouth twitched. Haha, not much, it's reasonable. After all, the standard I set for him started at 3,000 words. I sat at the desk, scratching my head. In 10 minutes, I had only written the title. Summary and reflection on the incident of angering my boyfriend. Then I couldn't squeeze out a single sentence. I glanced at Ethan, who was making a phone call nearby, and quietly took out my phone, preparing to copy something from the internet. A new friend request popped up on WhatsApp. The verification message read, I'm Henry Stone. My hand trembled, and I clicked accept directly. The next second, Henry's message came through. Can we meet up? I have something important to tell you. Don't let Ethan know. I held my phone, dumbfounded, not knowing how to react. Until Ethan snatched the phone from behind me. No copying from the internet. Seeing that he was about to unlock the screen, I pounced on him directly. I wrapped my legs around his waist, kissing the corner of his mouth coquettishly. I've already realized my mistake. Can I not write it? Ethan raised an eyebrow. You think one kiss can make up for 500 words? Olivia, that's not how business works. He held me with one arm, his right hand starting to input the lock screen password. No, he absolutely can't see it. Fighting my embarrassment, I wriggled downwards. Ethan's breath hitched. Don't move. I said, how can a single self-criticism express my sincerity? Why don't you thoroughly examine me, inside and out? Ethan's eyes darkened. He placed me on the sofa, his movements gentle, but his words fierce. 500 words of self-criticism, one examination isn't enough. The heat rose rapidly, and I felt like I was repeatedly thrown to the clouds. In a moment of losing myself, I hugged Ethan and uncontrollably said sorry. Sorry for always deceiving you. It's not your fault. Ethan kissed away the tears from the corner of my eye. As he spoke, he glanced at the phone thrown on the carpet. His gaze was contemptuous. I've decided not to complete the task anymore. The system seems to have sensed something and comforts me. It's all right, there's another world that matches the host's field. We still have one more chance. The system says I have 2 chances in total, so even if this world fails, there's still one more opportunity. But I don't want to pursue anyone else anymore. Next time, can we go to a world where I can rely on myself? Actually, it's not just because of Ethan Cartwright. I'm just tired, weary of this kind of world where I have to depend on others to survive. The system agrees. Don't be afraid, host. I'll be with you. You'll definitely survive. There's 1 month left on the task countdown. By then, I'll die in an accident and leave this world. 1 month, not even reaching the wedding date Ethan set. That's good, I won't have to trouble him anymore. I refused Henry Stone's invitation, but he directly intercepted me downstairs at the company. I can help you, Henry said. Henry's car stopped beside me. He looked gloomy. I know I'm your conquest target. In the private room of the restaurant, Henry stared at my neck. There were still red marks left from Ethan's bites last night. It's okay, you've got the wrong person. None of this is your fault. Henry's expression twisted. I know you don't truly like Ethan Cartwright. Henry suddenly tried to grab my hand. I shrank back in fear. He said, Olivia, I know this might be hard for you to accept right now, but we're meant to be together. We were about to get married. I don't know why everything started over and you found the wrong person. But it's okay, there's still time. I asked, System, what's going on here? Has Henry awakened? The system was also confused. If so, does that mean we can complete the task soon? I tentatively asked, so what do you want to do? Henry blurted out, you keep following Ethan Cartwright, find a way to steal the North Town development plan for me. This plan is very important to me. With it, I can secure my position in the Stone family. Then I'll marry you. Marrying the target would mean I've completed the final conquest. Henry rambled on, lost in his fantasy, his face extremely excited. I frowned in disgust. He's really so stupid. Good thing I've already decided to give up on this task, otherwise I'd be sick to death. The system nodded vigorously, yes, let's go back to Ethan Cartwright to cleanse our eyes. I stood up to leave. At this moment, the door of the private room was suddenly pushed open roughly. Several familiar-looking bodyguards under Ethan rushed in. I looked blankly behind them. Ethan's face was as cold as water, the hem of his clothes tracing a stern arc in the air. I stood there dumbfounded, with only one thought in my mind. It's over, I'm going to be thrown into the North Sea. I can explain. Why didn't you reply to my message? Ethan and I spoke simultaneously. He looked down at Henry Stone coldly. Meeting with unimportant people, not replying to my message for over an hour. Olivia, do you want to write more self-criticism? I opened my mouth, but couldn't say a word. Ethan waved his hand, signaling the bodyguards to take Henry away. Henry struggled desperately. How dare you, Ethan Cartwright? I'm Olivia's target. She'll die if she's not with me. Get down on your knees and beg me, and I'll marry her. No one paid attention to him. The bodyguards roughly covered his mouth and dragged him out. I asked, will he be thrown into the North Sea? Ethan was taken aback, then laughed. Olivia, what are you thinking? I'm a law-abiding citizen. He said casually, I'll terminate cooperation with the Stone family. Henry's brothers won't let him off easily. I don't need to dirty my hands. I pointed at myself, what about me? How do you plan to deal with me? Ethan pondered for a moment. 3 essays of self-criticism, I suppose. After all, I was quite hurt today. Just self-criticism? Yes, and a few extra inspections. Why was Ethan so calm? What Henry just said. I looked at him blankly. Ethan interrupted me. Number 233. The system was confused. How does he know my code? Ethan said, is this how you work after taking my energy? He stroked my head soothingly. Olivia, there's no mission anymore. This time, you're free. The eldest grandson of the Cartwright family had a heart condition. When the news spread, the extended family members of the Cartwrights couldn't hide their glee. Everyone silently hoped for Ethan Cartwright's early demise. He couldn't run, jump, or experience any intense emotions. Yet, he was exceptionally intelligent. Skipping grades in school and taking over the family business. He was the perfect heir. The heart condition didn't trouble Ethan much. Except for one instance. During a graduation trip after A-levels, an accident occurred. Ethan was tricked into being alone and collapsed on a deserted path, struggling to breathe. He wore a watch that monitored his heart rate in real time. The Cartwright medical team was already on their way. But it was too late. He even started hallucinating. On the empty path, a girl's figure suddenly appeared. She ran over. Is he the one I'm supposed to find? He looks so young, is he even of age? Wait! The girl skillfully felt for his carotid artery. Then without hesitation, she precisely pressed on the middle lower part of his sternum. As she performed compressions, she spoke. Sweat from her forehead dripped onto Ethan's face. Don't be afraid, I'm a professional. I studied medicine for 5 years, though I died before graduating. But a simple CPR is no problem. Through his blurry vision, Ethan could only make out the girl's flushed profile. Though she was alone, he could hear another voice. A mechanical, electronic voice. Host, he's not the target. Leave him be. My energy won't last long, we must go to the correct time point immediately. Please, it's a human life. How can I not help? If we don't leave now, it'll be too late. You'll die. Didn't I already die yesterday in that crash? What's one more time? Time passed indeterminately. The sound of the ambulance racing closer, the helicopter landing. All sounds became clearer, except for the voice that had urged him to hold on. Later, he woke up in a hospital bed, a button clutched tightly in his palm. He had pulled it from her shirt. A reminder that it wasn't a dream. The latest gossip in high society. The illegitimate son of the Stone family was acknowledged and brought back, along with a girlfriend. Ethan had no interest in such rumors and was about to leave after hearing a few words. Passing through the front hall, he heard a girl speaking. Strangely, though she was alone, Ethan could hear 2 voices. Even after surgery gave him a healthy heart, he still dreamed of that day. The face he couldn't quite remember. The falling sweat. And that mechanical, electronic voice. Once again, he struggled to breathe, his heart feeling constricted. Host, someone's behind you. The girl turned to look at him. 10 years later, Ethan saw those eyes up close again. Ethan thought, it seems the surgery had failed after all. Why else would he be unable to breathe again? Who is he? His name is Ethan Cartwright, he's the chosen one of this world. Is he that impressive? Then why isn't he my target? That's thanks to me. He's too difficult to pursue. I worked hard to get you an easier target. Oh, you're so good to me, system. Olivia looked away, carelessly brushing past Ethan. Sigh, I don't even like Henry Stone. I get annoyed every time I see him. Never mind, I'll endure it to survive. Ethan began attending social gatherings. He went wherever Henry Stone appeared. Because he could see Olivia there. He calmly listened to Olivia's chatter with the system, finally understanding everything. But he couldn't bear to watch Olivia fawning over Henry Stone. Just a useless playboy, surrounded by countless women. Too dirty. Completely unworthy of Olivia. Ethan tried to establish contact with the system. At first, it was futile. He talked to himself in his room, trying many times, almost doubting his sanity. Until he heard the news of Henry Stone's engagement. An arranged marriage with a wealthy heiress. What about Olivia? If she failed her mission, would she have to leave this world? He would once again fall into the nightmare that had tormented him for 10 years. His heart was filled with anger and resentment. It was at that moment that the signal finally connected. The forcibly summoned system was a bit scared. It timidly asked, "Do you want me to change the target to you?" No, Ethan didn't hesitate at all. She doesn't need to pursue anyone. Just let her live freely, as she wishes. System, your fortune is indeed enough for Olivia to complete her mission. But without it, you'll no longer be fate's favored child. It doesn't matter. I don't need it. But an accident occurred during the energy transfer. Ethan only heard the system frantically say, "Energy overload." Then a blinding white light, and he lost consciousness. When he opened his eyes again, time had rewound to a year ago. The day it all began. Ethan woke up during a board meeting, his back drenched in cold sweat. He hurriedly rushed to the location the system had mentioned. He found Henry Stone first in the alley. The man was covered in injuries, lying on the ground like a dead dog. Ethan showed no mercy, grabbing him by the collar and carelessly tossing him into the car. "Take him to the hospital. Don't let him die, but don't let him recover too quickly either." Just then, footsteps echoed from the alley entrance, accompanied by Olivia's muttering, "System? Sis? Why did you go offline? Where is he? Why can't I find him?" Ethan sensed something was wrong. Why was Olivia still out looking for someone if she no longer had a mission? He didn't hesitate, taking off his coat and using a knife to make a long cut on his left arm. It didn't matter. If she needed someone to find, she might as well pick him up. Olivia found it a bit strange. Suddenly, she was monitoring him constantly, sharing all sorts of mundane things with him every day. Ethan reveled in it. But that blind fool Henry Stone appeared again. Ethan keenly sensed that Henry might have remembered things from the previous life and wanted to pursue Olivia again. But it didn't matter. Without the forced mission, how could he compete with Ethan? Even last time, Olivia didn't like him. The wedding preparations came to a halt. Because Ethan said he was heartbroken. The kind that couldn't be comforted. "Olivia, I thought you really liked me. I never imagined I was just a task to you. It turns out I'm no different from Henry Stone. We're both people you disdain and want to get rid of." Ethan's tone was melancholic, his eyes slightly red-rimmed. "I felt like a heartless bastard. I was wrong before, but I truly like you. I don't believe you. Why don't you believe me?" Frustrated, I reached out and cupped Ethan's face. "Look carefully. Look into my eyes, see how sincere they are. You're so handsome and you treat me so well. It's impossible for me not to like you." Ethan lowered his gaze, still sulking. "Fine then, get off me." Ethan's beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. "Is this how you treat me? What do you want me to do? I've already sacrificed a lot. I had dark circles under my eyes from trying a new position with him every day." Ethan took out a document from the bedside table. It was as thick as a fist. The words prenuptial agreement were written on it. "Sign this, and I'll forgive you." I glanced over it. "Call husband 10 times a day. Check husband's phone at least 3 times a day." I was speechless. I definitely chose the wrong path back then. Ethan himself was a clingy person. "Didn't you get annoyed when I used to keep tabs on you all the time?" "No," Ethan replied without hesitation. "Just thinking about you thinking of me all day makes me incredibly happy. I only have one wife in 2 lifetimes, please have pity on me." All right, I'll sign it. Then tomorrow we'll go try on wedding dresses."